Hi, I'm Bob Farkley. I've been working in the storage industry for more years than I like to think about, and I've seen new ideas and new technologies come and go. But I've never seen a technology that's as exciting as the one I'm about to describe. The products I'm going to tell you about can add value to any DPM installation, and that's tangible value. Value you can touch and feel and take to the bank. The technology is called Virtual Storage Advanced Data Reduction, and the company that brings it to you is called BridgeSTOR. BridgeSTOR's appliances are made to enhance the value of Microsoft's System Center Data Protection Manager, DPM 2010, which is an excellent data protection product for Microsoft Windows servers, workstations, and laptops. At the heart of the BridgeSTOR technology is our secret sauce that we call Virtual Storage Advanced Data Reduction, or VSADR for short. VSADR combines inline data deduplication, compression, and thin provisioning to do for storage what VMware or Hyper-V does for servers. It reduces the amount of hardware you need to store DPM data by as much as 10 to 1, although your mileage may vary. The products use Windows Server 2008 R2 as their base OS. The appliance hardware is made, serviced, and supported by HP, a hardware supplier you know and trust. In addition to data reduction, BridgeSTOR's technology also includes strong AES 256 encryption for your DPM data. It's included at no extra charge, and you can turn it on or turn it off based on your own security needs. If you're familiar with DPM, you know that it stores protected data in a container called a storage pool. Inside the storage pool are protection groups that are configured to store data with similar protection needs. In this example, I've set up 4 protection groups, one for laptops, one for workstations, one for file servers, and one for Microsoft application servers. BridgeSTOR's VSADR operates inline as data is written to the DPM storage pool and compresses all the data that passes through it. It also simultaneously deduplicates all the data that passes through it. It deduplicates the data stored in a protection group so that if, for instance, 2 file servers have any identical data blocks, the duplicates will be deduplicated. But in addition to deduplicating within a protection group, VSADR deduplicates among multiple protection groups. This means that if an application server in protection group 4 is storing data that's also stored on a laptop in protection group 1, the duplicate data will be deduplicated. And remember, all data gets compressed, whether it's duplicate data or unique data. This slide shows the hardware component of BridgeSTOR's VSADR. The hardware is a specialized processor, a processor that is part of the XR 8200 series of data reduction processors, whose sole purpose is to reduce and encrypt data. The data reduction processor resides on a PCIe card that is installed in every BridgeSTOR appliance. This is well-proven hardware used by the biggest storage companies in the business. But BridgeSTOR is the only storage company that's extracting the full value from the hardware. While other manufacturers are using the XR processor for compression, BridgeSTOR is taking full advantage of the hardware's ability to accelerate data deduplication, add encryption, and enable the industry's most sophisticated thin provisioning. And it does all this at line rates, so performance is never an issue. Slide 5 shows the software side of VSADR. BridgeSTOR's software adds the drivers, the deduplication processing logic, the system interfaces, and the block manager required to add advanced data reduction and security to a Microsoft Windows Server 2008 R2 system. Since Microsoft's DPM is based on block storage, BridgeSTOR's VSADR, which is also block-based, makes a perfect match. This slide shows in detail how deduplication and compression combine to generate massive storage capacity savings. Slide 6 is a screenshot from an Excel spreadsheet that interprets VSADR data reduction. In the bar graph on the left, you can see that we ran 1106 gigabytes of data through the VSADR data reduction engine. The resulting data was only 351 gigabytes, so a total of 755 gigabytes were saved. Of the 755 saved gigabytes, 493 were saved through deduplication, and 261 gigabytes were saved through compression. The center graph shows this as percentages. We started with 100% of the data and reduced it down to just 32% of its original size, for a 68% reduction in the amount of capacity needed to store the data. In the pie chart in the upper right-hand corner, we can see that 65% of the overall data reduction came from deduplication, and the remaining 35% came from compression. This is fairly typical of the relationship between deduplication and compression that we see in total data reduction. Finally, the horizontal bar chart in the lower right shows a count of the number of 64K blocks that were processed. You can see that 149 million blocks were unique, but 120 million were duplicates that were deduplicated. Storage managers frequently ask me about the effectiveness we see when compressing data on file and application servers. Now here are some highlights. There are exceptions to data compression. Images that have already been compressed, like ISO images and compressed files, zip and tar files, typically show no further compression. But typical Windows file data does compress, usually in the range of 1.4 to 1 to 2 to 1. We also find that email and Google Apps data compress very, very well. Interestingly enough, conventional wisdom sometimes says some data won't compress, and we find that it does. But the bottom line is there's a lot of compression variability across file types, and even among files of the same type. Those same storage managers also frequently ask me about how effectively data deduplication works with DPM storage. Again, here's some highlights. We find that things like Hyper-V virtual server images deduplicate very well, as does Exchange data, SharePoint data, file server data, and other multi-tenant data reduces through deduplication very effectively. Finally, we find that identical or similar content that's stored on more than one server or workstation or laptop also is a great candidate for deduplication. Finally, everybody wants to know how effectively the combination of deduplication and compression operate on DPM data. Again, here's some highlights. We looked at a customer, in this case a Silicon Valley fabless semiconductor firm. They're seeing 90% reduction across a combination of Hyper-V, SharePoint, and Exchange servers. The Microsoft DPM development team is actually seeing and reporting 83% data reduction in their Hyper-V environments. We see some of that data reduction taking place when we perform the initial data replica, and then we see further data reduction as server data is incrementally protected. And as I've said before, 4 to 1 to 6 to 1 data reduction is typically achieved over time. And again, I caution you that your mileage may vary. We also finally find that DPM data can be encrypted without performance or capacity penalty. Slide 10 shows the real-world experience of one of our Silicon Valley high-tech customers who added a BridgeSTOR appliance to their DPM configuration. This company uses DPM to protect Hyper-V, SharePoint, and Exchange servers. The before BridgeSTOR and after BridgeSTOR comparison shows that this customer reduced their DPM storage capacity requirements by 90% using a BridgeSTOR appliance. That's a 10 to 1 data reduction ratio, and they are very happy campers. Slide 11 illustrates how the Microsoft DPM development team itself is using BridgeSTOR VSADR. They've been using the BridgeSTOR technology for about a year and have reported really outstanding results. Indeed, their Hyper-V clustered shared volume DPM storage capacity requirements have been slashed by 83%. That's more than 5 to 1 through the use of BridgeSTOR technology. This slide shows the use of BridgeSTOR's data encryption for DPM. This capability is included at no additional cost with every BridgeSTOR DPM appliance, and the storage manager can elect to turn it on or leave it off. It uses a very simple key manager, which is also included at no additional charge, that operates within your own domain to keep your DPM data extra secure. This slide compares the two different models of the BridgeSTOR application optimized storage appliances for DPM. The standard density unit uses energy efficient 2.5-inch disk drives and packs up to 38.8 terabytes of DPM capacity into just 2U of rack space. The high density appliance uses 3.5-inch disk drives and packs up to 80 terabytes of capacity optimized DPM storage into just 2U. Both appliances reduce DPM disk capacity, reduce storage management time and complexity, minimize power consumption, minimize cooling requirements, minimize annual hardware maintenance fees, and minimize floor and rack space requirements. In summary, BridgeSTOR's DPM storage appliances add tangible value to your DPM installation. This is value you can touch and feel and take to the bank. We encourage you to download our DPM white papers and our datasheets to learn more about BridgeSTOR solutions. We encourage your questions and would be delighted to work with you in looking more closely at one of our advanced data reduction appliances. We encourage you to ask for a quote on an appliance that meets your own needs. On behalf of both myself and BridgeSTOR, I thank you for your time and attention, and thank you for stopping by.